Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. We're here today with special guest, Josh Carr, CEO of Echo Water, who's here to share with us the science behind this groundbreaking approach to wellness. What if the very water you drink could boost your energy, reduce inflammation, and protect your health? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Josh Carr is a seasoned entrepreneur and marketing expert with over a decade of experience turning ideas into thriving businesses. Since February 2023, he has served as CEO of Echo Water, leading the manufacturing and sales of hydrogen water machines for homes and business uses, driven by his passion for innovation and world-changing products. So welcome to the show, Josh Carr.
Thank you.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this product. I've been a big fan of Echo Water, but I think for a lot of people, they might not even know like the basics. So why don't we dive into what hydrogen water is?
Sure. I think everyone's heard of hydrogen. It's the most abundant molecule in the universe. It's what powers the sun. It's everywhere, right? Your DNA is held together with hydrogen bonds. Your mitochondria use hydrogen to create energy in your body. So we're all very, very familiar with it. But I think it's new to people to realize that your body both makes hydrogen and uses hydrogen. I think sometimes we just associate it with, the Hindenburg disaster or something like that. And it's become more common lately to think of it as an energy source. A lot of people have heard of hydrogen fuel cell cars and hydrogen powered things. And I think sometimes we also have people who are a little concerned. We hear from people, isn't hydrogen flammable? And I say, isn't oxygen flammable? Yeah, we use these things in our bodies, but they also have other things they can do too, right? So water has hydrogen in it naturally as part of that bond. You bond hydrogen and oxygen together, and that's what forms water. And what we do, it's actually the same exact tech that's used in a hydrogen fuel cell car, but we run it backwards. They use hydrogen as the source of energy, and then they bring oxygen to it, and it gives off an electron that powers the car. We do it the opposite way. We add an electron to the process to give it the energy to split that molecule apart, and we send oxygen out into the atmosphere, and we let the extra hydrogen dissolve back into the water. The reason that matters is because, like I said, your body will create hydrogen in the gut. And when you're young and healthy and vibrant, you probably don't need any extra hydrogen. But as you get a little older and you start moving a little slower and you don't feel as good, or, can't recover as quickly from a workout, or aches and pains, those kinds of things, that could be a really good sign that your body is not generating as much hydrogen as it's demanding. And so about back in 2008, there was a big study that came out in Nature that talked about the health benefits of drinking hydrogen. Hydrogen gas dissolved in water, actually. You couldn't drink hydrogen gas, but drinking hydrogen water. And ever since then, it's been, there's been about 1,500 studies published on the different health benefits and all the ways it can help your body. And it's one of those trends that's just really on upward momentum. A lot of people are just discovering it now and getting very excited about it.
So basically, if we live life, we need to use this because it sounds like everything you explained from pains after working out, all of that, it can really benefit people, right?
Yeah. It What it is it's sending a signal to your cells. It took them a long time to figure out this research because they would measure benefits, but they didn't know why it was working the way it was working. And what they've recently discovered is that hydrogen is a signaling molecule. It sends a signal to your cells to go back to homeostasis, go back to your ideal state and hit the reset button. And so, our day is filled with chaos, stress, toxins. We don't eat the best food. We don't do the best behaviors. And it can send our system a little bit haywire. And hydrogen sends a signal to the system to just reset and go back to back to your ideal state. And so it's very similar to, there's been some trends lately about fasting, intermittent fasting. People get a real health rush from doing a fast because it does the same thing. It sends your body into a state of stress, and then it makes your cells go back to homeostasis. So, like the week after you fast, you feel really good, and then it starts to fade. And so, we can do that same thing with hydrogen without having to do the fast or an extreme workout or something like that. And then you just try to do it multiple times per day.
So, why do you think it's so popular in the wellness space right now?
I think because it's so simple. Like we there's a meta trend I think that's happening where we're going back to the basics on so many things. And hydrogen is literally it's almost like magic when you get your bottle and you've used it before, but you put water in and then you see these bubbles coming up. And we get the question all the time, how do I add hydrogen to the bottle? Where do I get hydrogen? Stuff like that. And we're literally splitting apart that molecule. And so it's like such a pure and simple solution to complex problems. And people are starting to reject pharmaceuticals, and they're starting to just search for, like, I'd say older ways of being and living, and like eating better and simplifying and, going back to basics in many, many ways. And so if you can get just a phenomenal benefit from just drinking water and not have to take a painkiller, not have to take all these other supplements, not have to put things into your body, that's very, very popular with people. It really resonates.
I know that you've issued some warnings about knockoffs. What should
Oh my
consume
gosh.
there's like so much out there. We were talking a little bit about that too. What should consumers be looking for?
Well, I'm so glad you brought this up. Now, I mean, most of us didn't pay attention in chemistry class, right? But you can use electricity to split apart water and have all sorts of different outcomes. We've got a special piece of technology that was actually invented by NASA for the Apollo program. It's called a proton exchange membrane, and it only allows the hydrogen to pass through into the water. But water is never 100% pure. And if you allow the oxygen to go back in, it can recombine as all sorts of other things. And one of those, hypochlorous acid, is a very, very powerful acid that kills viruses, kills bacteria. It's something like 80 times as effective as bleach, and often used in like doctors' offices and hospitals to sterilize, right? Well, if you were to not have a proton exchange membrane, a large quantity of that hydrogen and oxygen would recombine as hypochlorous acid. And that's that all of a sudden it's not helping you. It's not improving your gut health. It's killing the good bacteria and the bad. It's it's causing all sorts of problems. Now, if you add anything else into the water, we have heavy metals in some of the water. We have that people could be adding to these. All sorts of crazy things happen. And so we would hear from people who bought knockoff bottles thinking they were doing something good. And they'd be like, why does my water smell like bleach? And I'm just like, oh, you shouldn't be drinking that. I wish the awareness was better. I guess that's kind of what we're doing here, is telling that story. But people trying to do something, it makes me furious, really, because people are trying to do something good for their health, trying to make a good decision. And then they think, oh, well, this bottle's expensive. This one looks the same, and it's much more cost effective. I'm going to go with that one, not knowing that they could be doing something very detrimental to their health. And so I think awareness is the key to solving that. I don't know that you could put regulations in place or anything, but if people just look for, well, if it's like so many other things, there's places where it's really wise to save money and there's places where it's not. If you're putting something into your body, I would suggest going with the best and the purest that you can get, and focus on that. But any bottle with a high quality proton exchange membrane in it is most likely going to produce hydrogen gas. And then the other thing you're going to look for is they should have some testing and results certifications on their site. Ours are easy to find. We test everything. We test the batches, test for heavy metals. We test for hydrogen. We test all the things. And they're easy to find. But if you really can't afford our bottle, because I do know it's a little more expensive, and you're looking for a substitute, just make sure that it's been thoroughly tested and has all the safety stuff in place so that you don't end up with a problem.
You don't want to exacerbate a problem and end up making yourself sicker by using something you don't have any idea what you're putting in your body.
Oh yeah, you could make yourself a lot sicker actually. If you go and destroy your gut microbiome by ingesting some of that, you're going to be in a much worse spot than when you started out. Whereas if you have hydrogen, it like makes your gut microbiome flourish and really helps heal the gut. And so the contrast is very, very stark.
Now, earlier you mentioned like case studies. Do you have a couple you can share with us?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do the citations off the top of my head, but some of my favorites, and this is kind of based on how I use the water myself. So I'll combine these into two because the reason I got involved in this and found out about this is I've got a genetic arthritis, and inflammation is just a constant problem. And I had been going through a really rough patch where, my pharmaceuticals, all the things I was taking were just, I was not responding to them anymore like I used to. And so I'd just been in a lot of pain for a long time. And a friend introduced me to hydrogen water. And I was able to make a huge, huge impact on my inflammation. And now I just can't live without it. Like I went on a trip and accidentally left my bottle behind. And within 3 days, I was like, what have I done? I forgot the contrast of the before and after for me. So inflammation is one. There's a lot of studies on inflammation, and inflammation is kind of the key to so many disease models. The other ways I use it is it's fantastic as a pre-workout. So the studies on the pre-workout are about 30 minutes before your workout. If you drink hydrogen water, you'll have better endurance. You'll be able to do more reps if you're weightlifting. You'll be able to run farther if you're running. And then you'll have faster recovery. And then there's other studies that showed post-workout recovery of hydrogen water is very, very effective. One of my favorites that I tell people, especially when you're first starting out, because some of the benefits can take weeks before you really realize them. Like inflammation can take quite a while to feel. But the ones you'd feel immediately, they did a study comparing hydrogen water to coffee for energy. And so many times we confuse that caffeine rush and the jittery, on edge kind of thing as energy rather than like productivity and clarity of mind and things like that. And so they compared hydrogen water to caffeine and had people replace their afternoon coffee, at 2:30 when you get a little sluggish. They had them replace that with hydrogen water, and hydrogen water dramatically outperformed the coffee. And that's one of the ways I use it is you drink a flask around 2:30 in the afternoon. It's my third one of the day at that point, and I am just ready to go. My brain's awake, my body's alert, and I have tons of focus. And it's like next thing I know, it's 6 o'clock and I need to be heading home. And I haven't even realized where the time is going because I've been so busy and so effective. And so that's great. The other upside of that is coffee has a long half-life. So 8 hours later, there's about half that coffee in your system still. And it's interrupting your sleep and preventing you from getting the rest you need. And hydrogen water, there's also studies showing that it improves sleep. So the combination of those, you'll get better sleep at night. You'll wake up feeling better, and you'll have a better afternoon. Those are a few examples. There's a ton for brain health. They've done a bunch of studies on Parkinson's patients and regular people as well. But the water can pass that blood-brain barrier, or the hydrogen can pass the blood-brain barrier very quickly within 5 minutes. Amazing research on how it's helping brain and cognitive function and plasticity and health. And so really cool things. A lot of these things are being explored even more all the time right now because they've done a lot of introductory studies and now they're doing more thorough ones, but some very, very cool things already.
So, what is the comparison or the difference between when we look at hydrogen water versus like alkaline or structured water?
That's a really good question. And there's so much confusion in the marketplace. I don't want to say anything negative about alkaline water per se, because it was the things that were happening with alkaline water that led people to hydrogen water, which is the real solution. So one of the unintended consequences of a brand new alkaline water machine is that electrolysis reaction that they're using would create a small amount of hydrogen gas. And no one knew that at the time. They just say, oh, I drank this alkaline water and I felt really good. And then the scientists would do research and they would say, well, they'd talk all about the pH of the water. And as you make it more alkaline, that it's good for your body. But it doesn't make it past the stomach. Your stomach acid adjusts that automatically. We drink and eat things that are all sorts of acidic and alkaline all the time, and our body knows how to adjust it right back to where it needs, right? So the scientists would isolate for the alkalinity of the water, and they would see no health benefits. It's the same as any water you could drink. Now, some people might like the flavor, and it's actually, for real specialized coffee drinkers, I've heard that the alkaline water in your coffee mellows out the acidity of the coffee and makes it taste great. So it's not totally useless, but as a health product, The only benefit people were getting from the alkaline water is that it contained a small amount of hydrogen. Now, it contained like a half part per million of hydrogen. Our new bottle produces 8 parts per million of hydrogen. So the dose of hydrogen is significantly larger and the benefits are going to be significantly better. But you'll see alkaline water in, bottles at the store or people promoting it online. But there are no studies linking the alkalinity of the water to health outcomes. But there's 1,500 plus on hydrogen specifically. Now, structured water it's just total nonsense, I guess. There's no way to measure if the water is even structured. There's no way to prove that the different shape of arranging molecules is going to provide any specific benefit. There's no studies on it. There's anecdotal things that people say. It's not going to hurt you, but when you start looking at the structured water devices that people are selling, I saw one the other day. It was $2,000, and it's literally a copper tube that they run the wire through, or they run the water through, and it's supposed to do something magic to the water. I mean, some of them may be well-intentioned, some may just be hucksters, snake oil salesmen, whatever, but there doesn't seem to be anything on structured water at all in any way. If you're a true believer, you could run your hydrogen water through that copper tube and essentially, make it magical, make it structured, but it doesn't actually change the water at all.
Well, that's good to know, just having that breakdown, the differences, because I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to our health and well being, we want things that work and that they have science behind it. And we're not just using just anything that maybe we saw on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of hype out there. There's I mean, a lot of people taking advantage of people just to make a buck. Hopefully, consumers are becoming better educated in the age of the internet. There's so many scams and so many crazy things out there, but it seems like they'll always invent a new scam, won't they?
That's so important that we pay attention to the science and really who we're purchasing from. Now, you've said that Silicon Valley is solving the wrong problems when it comes to longevity. Can you share on that for us?
Yeah, I don't know if the audience follows that kind of story at all, but the amount of money that has gone into health in Silicon Valley over the past, well, 20 years probably is just astronomical. And they're pouring in just billions and billions of dollars for these moonshot goals, 1 in a trillion chance of providing a solution. They're looking for they're Ponce de Leon looking for the fountain of youth, if you will. It's really kind of frustrating because we have simple solutions like this that could be rolled out to people that could be they could shift attention in a very small way and make a very huge impact on public health and do the right thing by their investors as well. Like, do you remember the Theranos story? It was a multi-billion-dollar scam based on blood testing, and
Mm-hmm.
Silicon Valley just put Elizabeth Holmes is her name. They put so much money into that, and they didn't do any due diligence on it, and it was all nonsense. And that kind of thing seems to just keep happening. And it's really frustrating to see that wasted capital and to see that people not benefiting and health outcomes not improving when we have great solutions that just need to get to people. So that capital could be reallocated in some very smart ways to really help people.
Can you share some of the products that Echo Water has?
Yeah, absolutely. Our flagship product is the Echo Flask. It's a smart water bottle that has a touchscreen on it and syncs with your phone. You can monitor your intake, monitor how much hydrogen and how much water you've had, set schedules, plan your day, set goals, all those kinds of things. All the benefits of having an app tracking your results. Also syncs with Apple Health Kit and Google Health so that you can move that data into other apps as well. It's the only water bottle of its kind that does that. So all the other water tracking systems are all manual. And it looks super cool too. So you look pretty fancy at the gym with it or wherever you go. We've actually had people say to us directly, like, I don't know what it does, but I want people to see me with it, which I think is hilarious. But that's kind of our flagship product. We also have a supplement. It's a powdered drink mix that you can take with you on the go. And instead of using electricity to separate the hydrogen and oxygen, in the water, it uses a chemical reaction. So it's a magnesium-based drink mix. The acid reacts with the magnesium and releases hydrogen gas. And so it's a really high concentrated dose of hydrogen. And then we also have a long-lasting fiber that will produce a second tier of hydrogen in your gut using fermentation. So it's like an instant dose now and a long-lasting dose throughout the day. And that one's great. We recommend flask as number one. It's the purest way to get your hydrogen. It's the best way. But in a pinch or filling some gaps, travel, those kinds of things, the drink mix is fantastic and tastes great. So we do have some people who say water's too boring and they want some flavor. And so they go with the drink mix. That's fine too. And then we also have solutions for the home. Everything from whole home filter systems, just because we believe getting your water as clean as possible is key to health, to solutions for the kitchen, for the whole family. We have a pitcher. We have stuff that can be installed in the kitchen or put on the countertop. And the flask is really a personal use item, but those other ones, if you have a family, they could all have hydrogen water for everything you do. We have multiple devices that are designed for the kitchen, and they can either be installed under the counter with a spout coming out. A lot of people already have an RO filter in their home, so we have devices that have a filter built in and a spout, or we have devices you can add to an existing RO filter in your home and use that same spout. And then our flagship on the first product you should try is the flask. Our flagship on the best product we offer is the Echo Ultimate, and it does four kinds of water. Actually makes that hypochlorous acid that I was talking about that you can use to sanitize your counters and have a natural way to clean and sanitize your home just with just water, which is awesome. Don't drink that part is the key, right? It'll also do alkaline water, which is great for coffee and plants and some other uses. If you have an upset stomach, for example, alkaline water can really help. Then you can just choose straight filtered water or hydrogen-rich water, and that's all from the same device. And then we have the Echo H2, which is straight hydrogen water. It has a filter built in, so it's like kind of an all-in-one system for under the counter or on the counter. It looks great on the counter as well. If you don't own the home, don't want to drill through the counter for a spout, that sort of thing, a lot of people just put it on the countertop. And then we have our Echo Flow, which we also have an Echo RO of our own. So you pair the flow and the RO together. So if you don't have an RO in your home, I strongly recommend everyone should be filtering their water. We always say your body needs filtered water. You get to choose whether your body's the filter or if you use a filter. You don't want your body filtering out the heavy metals, the toxins, the PFAS, all the nasty stuff we keep hearing about in our water. So I strongly recommend people get a whole home filter. And then in the kitchen and the water you drink, you really need to be drinking reverse osmosis water. It's the cleanest water you can get without going all the way to distilled. That's just the best solution for everybody. So we have a Echo RO. It's a reverse osmosis on-demand water filter, and then we run it from that into a machine we call the Echo Flow, which adds the hydrogen, and it just comes out on a little spout on your countertop, or you can plumb it up to your refrigerator spout or wherever you want, so that you can have on-demand hydrogen. And refill a water bottle, use it for cooking, whatever you need to do.
Oh, that's just awesome. Now, does Echo Water have any kind of new things that they're evolving into, like within this next year?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things I'm not going to announce. There's some big stuff that we're going to be announcing at CES in January, which we're really, really excited about. We have some big partnerships coming up on both distribution and celebrity endorsement kinds of things that I can't quite announce yet, but they're just absolutely huge. Like the people who are interested and excited about this have shocked me. And when we have so many users that are professional athletes and high performers of all kinds, that when they reach out and we engage with them, it's just really, really exciting. So I can't announce any of those yet. But one of the things I can talk about is we're going to be expanding all the product lines. We have some more bottles coming out. We have some more stuff for the home coming out. And we have some commercial stuff we're working on because we've got a lot of requests for bottle filling stations and things like that on commercial applications. And so those are a little bit further out on the horizon. But the things that we're working on right away are we're expanding our supplement line. So we started that as a test to see if our customers would be interested in a powdered drink mix. It's been very, very popular. And so now we're expanding that out into a whole bunch of different endpoints. All of the things that we will do are benefits that hydrogen water can amplify. So we'll be doing a probiotic. We'll be doing some pre-workout stuff. We'll be doing some sleep enhancement. and a number of other things. But through that stick pack method, you'll pour it in, you pour your stick of powder into, it's like those little Crystal Light packs or something. You pour it into a water bottle, and then you can have a hydrogen water that also improves your gut microbiome. You can have hydrogen water that's also great for energy in a workout. You can have hydrogen water that helps you sleep better. We'll be expanding that line at the end of this year and throughout next year. And we see that as a huge advantage. There's other people that make hydrogen tablets, but they can only do hydrogen, and they don't taste good. They taste terrible. It's just the metallic, you just taste the magnesium. Because we invested in the R&D to figure out how to make it a powdered drink mix, now we can pair it with other beneficial supplements and ingredients to really enhance those benefits. So if you're like, I'm using hydrogen to get this benefit, to reduce inflammation, for example, or to sleep better, or for brain health, we'll have a hydrogen nootropic for brain health. We'll have a hydrogen sleep aid for sleep. And then because hydrogen is gives you so much energy, so much clean energy, we have some energy supplements that we're really excited about that don't have any caffeine. So they're sugar-free, caffeine-free, and you'll feel better than if you had a Red Bull or you had 5-hour energy or something like that.
Well, it sounds like lots of exciting things happening at Echo Water. Josh, where can our listeners connect with you? And also, I'm sure people want to go purchase their own flask.
Yeah, the best place to go really is echowater.com. There you can see all the products, you can see the research, social media posts, and who's using it, and all of the different things that are happening. Go through all the benefits. That's by far the best place. It's also available on Amazon. There are some retailers that carry it. You can get it in a Shields stores. I think they're nationwide now. If there's one of those big Shields stores near you, Erewhon, that high-end grocer that's in California, carries them. We're just rolling out retail now, and we've got some really cool things happening there, but retail takes a lot longer than just putting it online. So echowater.com is by far the best place to go.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Well, thanks for having me. This was great.
Well, thank you, Josh. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about Echo Water. Make sure to visit echowater.com for more information on their products and to be part of their community. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.